Hi, it's Sadhana with Integrative Healing with Sadhana.com, and tonight I am here to share with you my year ahead spread. This is a reading for a client, and I'm going to use this reading kind of as a demo just to show you how I do my year ahead. Let's start with how I lay out the cards. So I shuffled 2 decks of cards. For this reading, I chose the Wild Unknown Tarot and the Wild Unknown Oracle cards. And after clearing and shuffling, I lay the cards out in a counterclockwise direction. So the card at the top is the current month. And then I go around 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, so 12 months. The 13th card, which is the theme of the year, goes in the center. And then I shuffle the oracle cards and place the oracle cards 14, 15, 16, and 17. Now, why do I place the cards in a counterclockwise direction? Well, that is how I have seen time move. That is how I've seen time unfold ever since I was a child. So in my mind, in my heart, I see time move in a kind of a spiral in a counterclockwise direction to the left. So when I'm doing a reading for a client, if I am picking up on loved ones or entities of any kind to my left, I usually relate that to the future, to things that are yet to happen. For example, if there was a child on my left knee, I would be kind of looking at possible unborn babies or something like that, as opposed to a child on my right, which is probably a child in spirit. Okay, so that's just kind of how I've always seen time. However, we are not living in a 5th dimension. We're living in the 3rd dimension. So when it actually comes to reading the cards, I read the cards clockwise. And for me, what this does, it kind of winds and unwinds this mystery of time. And so I read 1, 2, 3 to 12 around this way. And so the oracle cards are connected to the 4 cards closest to it. I also spend some time kind of in silence connecting the cards like I would a crystal grid. So I go to the master crystal, into the center, and then silently, very slowly, I connect each of the tarot cards to the center card, kind of asking how they're talking to each other. So by actually tapping them and going around slowly, I look at that connection, tapping the center card, and then just moving around to each of the months. Okay, and then I do the same for each of the oracle cards. So connect the oracle card to the center. So bring those cards together and then connect the oracle card to each of the cards that it connects to. And so the bee connects to the hermit, to the sword cards, and the 8 of Pentacles here. Connect the hermit to the starfish, and then the starfish to the 4 cards closest to it. And then again, the same for the unicorn. So the unicorn needs to be connected to the hermit. And, sometimes I'll touch the crystals again when I'm doing this. And sometimes I touch extra cards. And usually I do this in silence and kind of very slowly. Sometimes I'll move crystals around if I just kind of feel things need to be in a different position. So the energy of the whole reading is connected in a clockwise direction and a counterclockwise direction time is not really a fixed thing. So I guess that's the message that I want to get across. So then what do? Then I really have a look at the center card, which is the theme. And if the client has pulled a major arcana card for the center, then, this is a significant year. And pulling the Hermit card is no small thing. So this really is going to be a year very much of healing for this person. So the Hermit and how it relates to all 12 cards around it, and how the Hermit relates to each of the oracle cards will be part of the reading. So this reading does take some time to pull together, but as an example, so it's going to be important for this client to really define how she is going to embrace the Hermit card this year and commit to the Hermit card this year. So whether she is going to take up a meditation practice, whether she's going to commit to a yoga practice, more time down by the beach and reflecting, journaling, painting, whatever the retreat, whatever nourishing retreat resonates with her, is going to really help in moving through this these challenging things that have come up. The celebration card, the Three of Cups at the top of the reading, is kind of confusing. It does make sense. It's kind of one of those celebrations that is hard to swallow. But if I look at the reading and look at this card as kind of a celebration following this moving forward, this can also be read as, so if this is September, that means that's next August. This would be 12 months from now, 13 months from now too. So that, I don't feel limited by a certain card being a certain month. I think it's really important to look at the energy of all the cards that are connecting. For example, the bee here, this is kind of scary for me because I know she's going to, once all the divorce is finalized and things are going to kind of look forward, there's going to be some new project that comes up and things are going to be moving ahead for her. There's going to be a sense of confidence and definitely energy in the recreating everything that she's been wanting to recreate so desperately, but definitely a caution here, for overdoing it. Especially having the Knight of Swords here. I don't want her to be too reckless in that, especially because we need to look at the healing medicine and the healing. How is she going to continue to look after everything that she needs to look after with herself and this year of healing? Having the serpent card here is just a beautiful way to start, the oracle cards for the year. The shamanic tradition that I'm trained in teaches that, the serpent is about shedding the skin. It's about stepping into your new life, which totally fits for her. And it is a very kind of nourishing time, stepping into the waters of the divine feminine and really allowing yourself to be cared for, by the sacred feminine. So that's a lovely kind of supportive way of getting through, this challenging time. This horse with the bowed head is so her constantly doing her very best to see the cups half full rather than half empty is going to be it will come up again and again, and something she'll need to come back to. But it's really nice to see that the divorce is going to be finalized and things are going to move forward in a positive direction. But she's going to really have to be careful not to burn herself out. Balance is going to come up here. So work is going to be really good, and she has talked about moving on and doing something different. So I can almost see her She's a very creative person, and this suit here is not indicative of creativity, but definitely she has the tenacity to move here through to a new business and be quite successful in this. So I would like to really encourage her to remain hopeful that everything is going to turn in a positive direction. She's been asking if, she should move, she should leave this where we live. And I kind of see that she will. If we look at the cards in a divinatory kind of way, she is moving forward and she is moving on. Really nice to see 5 and 6, same suit and sequence. Excuse me. I've been talking a lot today. So that's really nice. And if this is the moving on, leaving things behind, having the unicorn here is lovely. The unicorn related to the 6th chakra, related to intuition, spirit, really coming into trust with spirit. Looking at the unicorn in relation to the hermit. So as the year closes, if she has not done some kind of spiritual retreat, this would be a really nice time of year to go to a spiritual retreat. And finally leaving geographically where we are located. She's in the same place that I am. So leaving this place and moving forward is going to be really, really a positive thing for her. Something to celebrate in the not too distant future. So once I go around and have a look at how the oracle cards connect to each of the cards that are near it, kind of go around in a counterclockwise direction, make sure that I'm following what's happening with the hermit. So also I would look across. So I would look at the Ace of Swords, the hermit, and the 8 of Cups. I would look at the 3 of Cups, the hermit, and the 8 of Pentacles. I would look also too at how the oracle cards across from each other connect to each other. So if they had a message for each other, that would also be important. Could look at the starfish, the hermit, and the sea serpent too. So there's lots of this reading can go on for as much time as you want to spend with a client. Year ahead readings can be really healing. They can be reassuring, and it's going to be really exciting to write this up for this client, because I think she's going to be very comforted to see this layout, even though there are some challenging cards here. These are not easy cards, right? So especially after you've got a positive card here, this looks kind of not so positive, but for her, I see this as definitely moving forward towards a celebration and having the courage and being in a place of trust, continuing your healing practice, being in a place of trust to move forward. So that's really lovely. You can also, and sometimes I do this because I have laid the cards out in a counterclockwise direction. It might be interesting to see how the cards, if we were to look at this as September, October, November, December. So let's just pick one card. So if this is the December card in the counterclockwise direction, so September, October, November, December. September, October, November, December. So that is December and December. So if this were December, how do they, are they saying the same thing? Are they saying something different? It can be, it can be confirming. So like I said, when I look across, remember that these are 6 months apart. These are 6 months apart. So these are really important paths to kind of to take seriously. So let's look at the 8 of Cups in relation to the Ace of Swords. So in order to embrace this new life that she is stepping into, and in order to fully become all that she can become, to step into her full potential, and to be this card does come up for a lot of divorced women, but I think this card is also about the mastery of a lot of hard work, there's a lot of persistence, there's a lot of experience with the Queen of Swords. It's a really beautiful card, actually, and there is a lot of wisdom associated with it. There is a lot of experience associated with it, right? So she knows what to do. And one of the things, this is actually really nice, because this is kind of getting, this client has been very, very emotional this past year. And this is kind of looking not so emotional, so that's really a good thing. But my question was, how do these two cards relate to each other? Well, in order for this actually to be a success and this to come to fruition, it's going to be necessary to actually move on, quite literally, to a new place. So, this is really important. For this to be a success, she is probably going to have to geographically change location and move forward. And that's not going to be easy, right? She's going to be wrestling. I see this as wrestling with her mind more than anything. But as I said, nice to see these moving in sequence. And because these are very, look at all these swords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 sword cards. So that's a lot of swords. That's a lot of being in the headspace. But being in the headspace, we can look at it as with the unicorn. And if she wants to heal, learning how to slow down the mental chatter, learning how to meditate, learning how to, be comfortable with being alone. Huge difference from being lonely and being alone. So this is going to be part of her lesson, and learning to listen to spirit, learning to trust the intuitive messages, learning to know what is ego and what is... I really, really like this connection here. So overall, this is a very kind of positive reading. And the 8 of Pentacles is very, very encouraging. And it is cause to celebrate, right? Definitely cause to celebrate that she's able to recreate her life in a very beautiful way. The starfish is one, definitely a beauty. Look at all this beauty here. The butterfly, the star, the starfish, the spider. This is really lovely. This is September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So this is the spring. The spring is going to be really, really beautiful for her. Yay. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with that. If you have questions about how I do this, or you do your year ahead reading differently, I would really like to hear from you. And yeah, let's just keep this conversation open. Have an amazing weekend and stay well. Namaste.